The laugh that echoed too loud. The morning sun rose over the glass towers of Crestfield Academy, a private high school that prided itself on excellence, privilege, and appearance. Within its marble corridors walked students dressed in custom blazers and polished shoes, each step echoing the quiet rhythm of ambition, or arrogance. Among them was Nathan Cole, 17 years old, top of his class, captain of the debate team, and son of a wealthy businessman whose influence stretched across the city. Nathan was the kind of boy who believed success was something you could see. The car you drove, the watch you wore, the name stitched on your uniform. He had a way of looking past people he thought were beneath him, and though his teachers admired his intellect, they secretly pitied his heart. For Nathan, the world was a hierarchy, and he had spent years climbing it with pride. That morning, the school was buzzing with preparations for Founders Week, a celebration of Crestfield's legacy. Students hurried through the halls with banners and decorations, and the janitorial staff worked silently to clean up after them. Among those staff was a man few noticed, an elderly janitor named Mr. Hale. He was small-framed with gray hair and calm eyes that always seemed to hold a distant kindness. His uniform was faded, his gloves torn in places, and yet there was something deliberate about the way he moved. He didn't rush. He didn't complain. He cleaned as though it mattered deeply. To most students, Mr. Hale was invisible, but to Nathan he was a reminder of what he never wanted to become, ordinary, unnoticed, and unimportant. Later that afternoon, Nathan and his friends lounged near the main hallway, laughing loudly as they watched Mr. Hale mop the floor. One of them made a joke about the school's mascot of misery, and laughter followed. Nathan smirked, walking past the janitor, his polished shoes splashing into the freshly mopped area. He looked down, saw the wet streak on his designer shoes, and scoffed. Then, with a smirk sharp enough to cut glass, he said just loud enough for the group to hear, "Guess some people never make it past cleaning up after others." Laughter erupted. Mr. Hale simply paused, looked up briefly, and gave a faint, knowing smile. He said nothing. He just continued working as if Nathan's words had no weight. But somehow that quiet reaction made Nathan uncomfortable. It was the kind of silence that didn't surrender. It observed. As the day went on, Nathan brushed off the moment. He was too busy preparing for the big speech competition the next morning, a citywide event that could earn him a scholarship and public recognition. He stayed late at school, rehearsing his words in the empty auditorium. When he finished, the hallways were dark and silent. As he left, he saw Mr. Hale again, still mopping under the dim hallway light. The janitor was humming softly, his movements methodical, patient. Something in that sight lingered with Nathan as he went home. He didn't know why. Maybe it was guilt, though he would never admit it. Maybe it was confusion. Why someone like that could seem so content. The next morning, the entire school gathered in the auditorium for the competition. Parents, teachers, and judges filled the seats. Nathan stood backstage, dressed sharply, confidence radiating off him. As he waited for his turn, he glanced at the janitorial staff cleaning a corner of the stage area. Mr. Hale was among them. Nathan's eyes rolled almost automatically. He whispered under his breath, "Even here?" When his name was called, Nathan stepped out to a burst of applause. He began speaking, his words polished, rehearsed, perfect. But halfway through, something unexpected happened. His notes slipped from the podium, scattering on the floor. He froze for a split second. The crowd went quiet. His confidence cracked. He bent to pick them up, but before he could, a hand reached down, steady, calm, and familiar. Mr. Hale had stepped onto the stage quietly, gathered the pages, and handed them back to him. Nathan took them, embarrassed. The audience clapped politely as he resumed, but his voice faltered. His rhythm broke. He finished the speech, but the spark was gone. When the judges announced the results, Nathan came in third. He forced a smile, though his pride stung more than the loss itself. As the crowd dispersed, he noticed Mr. Hale sweeping near the stage, moving as if the applause meant nothing to him. Later, as Nathan walked to the parking lot, he saw Mr. Hale sitting quietly on a bench looking out at the courtyard. Nathan hesitated, something tugging at his conscience, but pride pulled him the other way. He left without a word. That night, he told his father about the loss. His father frowned, disappointed. "You can't afford to slip, Nathan," he said sternly. "Perception matters more than truth." The words echoed in Nathan's head long after the conversation ended. The next morning he arrived at school earlier than usual. The hallways were empty except for Mr. Hale, who was polishing the school's memorial plaque, a large bronze tablet honoring the academy's founding donors and notable alumni. Nathan barely noticed it before, but as he walked past, his eyes caught on one of the engraved names. He stopped. He blinked, unsure if he was seeing correctly. There, near the top, among names of founders and philanthropists, was one that made his breath catch. Harold E. Hale, Crestfield benefactor and board founder. Nathan's stomach tightened. His mind raced. He looked over at the janitor, who was still quietly working, humming the same calm tune as always. The realization hit him like a tidal wave. The man he mocked, the janitor he dismissed as insignificant, had his name carved into the very stone that built the school's legacy. And for the first time, Nathan didn't feel superior. He felt small. He wanted to ask, to understand, to know why, but all he could do was stand there, staring at the name as the bell rang and the day began, signaling not just another school day, but the beginning of something Nathan could not yet name. Something was about to change forever.